Hello, here are your weekly announcements for the week ending on September 20th, 2020. This week will see us transitioning from the end of our first essay project to the beginning of our second one. To look, though, at the end of our first essay project, the first announcement corresponds with that. Read cultural values, plagiarism, and fairness when plagiarism gets in the way of learning. Use the reading questions you will find a link to in the same folder to help you focus and guide your reading of the article. Answering the reading questions will also give you a very good resource for when you go to draft out your first essay. Post your answers to the reading questions on the discussion board that has been set up for that purpose. Before going further, I'd like to take a look at the essay assignment itself. I'm going to go through course content, cultural perspectives on plagiarism, and you'll see that it's the first item listed. The assignment that we've been working on will allow us to accomplish several different things. The first of which is taking a look at plagiarism, and one that doesn't just start and end by saying that it's bad. You've probably noticed by now that the goal is a more nuanced discussion of plagiarism that instead looks at the reasons that it happens and the fact that it's not always a constant. Instead, some parts of it change depending on your cultural background. So it can be easy to think that plagiarism is a concept we all understand the same way, and yet, when we go to define it, we find that our definitions differ from those of others based on our experiences. In this assignment, you'll be asked to do the following. 1. Explain your own understanding of plagiarism and academic honesty. 2. Discuss the reading on cultural relativism and, by including and discussing quotations to support yourself, explain what cultural relativism is and how it is important to your examination of plagiarism across cultures. 3. Use the material that you can find in the research articles by Block and Hyzy and Trona to discuss the way that two other cultures, the Chinese and Greek cultures, understand plagiarism and academic honesty. 4. Conclude by offering up an overall assessment of how much the concepts of plagiarism and academic honesty stay consistent across cultures versus how much changes from one culture to another. And 5. Include citations of the sources you draw your information from at the end of the essay. And I've placed in parentheses here that this isn't a heavy lift, not difficult. They're in the below. As you can see, we have citations for the 3 source texts right here. Other guidelines include the length. We're looking for a minimum length there of 4 pages, which means that you want to be taking up all of page 4 and preferably be somewhere on page 5. Double space lines, have 1-inch margins. Use MLA format, in other words, an academic heading, double spacing, and 11 or 12-point font, and an MLA header, the last name and page number to go at the upper right-hand corner of your paper. Lastly, I've listed the important course outcomes that are satisfied by this. The important one, other than the course outcomes that just have to do with things like essay drafting, etc., is that the goal here is to be able to use and discuss 3 different cultural perspectives. So there's a good reason that we've been going at this project this way. It's actually one of the course outcomes to be able to apply 3 different cultural perspectives to an analysis of some kind. So, to your analysis of plagiarism and whether or not it stays consistent across cultures, you will be discussing your perspective on plagiarism and by doing so providing an American perspective on it. Then you'll be looking at the 2 other readings on student perspectives on plagiarism, the one that talks about Chinese students and then the one that talks about Greek students, and that will provide you with the subject matter that you need to be able to apply those 2 other cultural perspectives. To transition back to the announcements for this week, As I said before, the others of the announcements correspond to the next project we'll be moving to. Announcement 2 then. Read the Survey of Critical Approaches to Literature. Use the reading questions to help you through the reading, and then post the answers to the reading questions to the discussion board that has been set up for this purpose. I'm hoping that you have been looking at the posts that other people have left on the discussion boards. If you haven't yet done so, I highly recommend it. It's a really important and very helpful thing to do. It's really the best replacement that we've got for class discussion. I realize it's not a perfect replacement, but it's the best one we've got, like I said, so please do so. Number 3, post to the What Sort of Critic Would You Be discussion board. Number 4, compose your first draft of the Cultural Perspectives on Plagiarism essay. Then post it to 2 places, and please notice that this is in bold for good reason. This is important stuff. Those 2 places, upload it to the assignment Dropbox and post it to the Peer Response Read-Around Discussion Forum. Make sure to do so as an attachment to a new thread to make it easier to read your draft. Make sure to follow the directions that you will find with the discussion forum so that you'll get full credit for the activity. There's a reason that I'm asking you to post this to 2 different places. The first, with asking you to post that to the Blackboard Dropbox, is so that there's a way that I can leave you comments and corrections that's private. That is, that only you and I can see. I wouldn't want all of my comments on anyone's paper to be public because that's just not fair. However, we're also going to be posting that to the Blackboard discussion board so that we can have a peer response read-around activity, and that's something that was in the syllabus, so you should have seen mention of it. The goal there is twofold. First, it should allow you to be able to read other people's essays and draw from that some idea of what they're working on. And secondly, it will also guide you through giving some response and a little bit of constructive feedback to your other classmates. So those are the 4 items for the week. The description of each looks long, but really I'm just making sure that I've got enough detail for you there that you know what you're expected to do. As with all weeks, don't hesitate to email if you've got questions, and I'll be posting other videos and content as the week goes on. Take care, everybody, and have a nice week.